Heavenly Father, please help us to make right decisions for the people of Alcona County. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Small.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Brumman.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Lockyer.
Here.
I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes from the June 2nd regular meeting and the June 9th special meeting.
Board of Commissioners. The Road Commission. Yeah, you won't be about that meeting probably for 2
Hey,
weeks.
hey, Diane, can you mute your microphone, please?
Oh, yeah, I
Thank
got
you.
them calling me, Mary. I gotta hang up. I'll call you back.
I make the motion.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, motion by Bill,
Second.
second by Terry. Any discussion, changes, issues? Hearing none. All those in favor,
Aye.
say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. We'll go into public comment. Limit 3 minutes, please.
You want to do the special meeting too, Adam?
I did it all in
You
one.
did both?
Man,
Boy, you were-
efficiency is my model.
I apologize.
Public comment limited 3 minutes, please. We have any public comment today?
Hi, this
Okay,
is Diane.
let's-
Were you guys calling for me? I'm sorry.
Well, you had your microphone on and it was kind of walking all over us. I just wanted to see if you could mute it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you. Then no public comment. We can move on to new business. Right to claims. Holy man.
No
This is the
presentations,
fastest
no-
meeting ever.
Sweet. I'll slow down then.
Yeah, you better talk slow. Make it official.
It's okay. Carry on.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between June the 2nd, 2021 and June 15th, 2021 for check numbers 144,423 to 144,567. And e-check numbers 1592 to 1602 for a grand total of $404,606.38. Seconded.
Moved by Dan, second by Terry. Any comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Brumman.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Brady.
Yes,
Lockyer.
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
motion carries. Next item for new business is Region 3 fiduciary for the, help me remember, it's for the, Homeland Security? So Alcona County was offered to be the controller for the grant for this. And through my conversations with the clerk, with the treasurer, who would be the one in charge mostly of this, Alcona County does not wish to participate at that level. I don't know if we need to do an official letter to say we don't want to, or we just don't.
Move that we inform the, I can't remember what Melissa's title is. But that we
Administrator?
inform, Region 3 that we are declining to be Homeland Security fiduciary.
So I have a motion from Carolyn that Alcona County is declining the Region 3 fiduciary,
And that we inform.
and that we
Of that
inform them of
decision.
that.
Support.
Moved by Carolyn, supported by Bill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I think we can just do all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is received the Region 9 Area Agency on Aging proposed fiscal year 2022 annual implementation plan. Enclosed in our packets, we have the letter
That's all we had.
in regards to it, but we do not have the actual plan.
That, I believe it was, like 48 pages long.
Yeah,
So
right.
I included the email so you can view it in the email.
And we received it Monday, June 14th, which at 48 pages really doesn't give us enough time to properly digest the content. So I suggest that we table this until the next meeting.
We have till July 30th, but yeah, we just need to review it.
Next meeting on the 5th.
Just move it to
Seven.
unfinished business on.
Yeah, if you would. I don't need a motion for that, right? Okay, great. Next item, 911 Authority Board Agreement.
I would move that we approve the agreement and authorize chair to sign.
I'll support.
Motion by Carolyn, supported by Dan. Any further discussion required?
Just, I think, comment, if we do have anybody listening, that it is a continuation of services that are exchanged between 911 and our sheriff's department during times when the sheriff's department is not normally staffed to handle going to the window and that type of thing, weekends and so on, and evenings.
Okay,
And this is like a 5-year agreement.
It's probably going into its 15th plus year,
Yeah.
something like that.
so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Do we need to roll call this, you think, or can we just do a?
It's not money, so.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Millen Township ordinance amendments. So we should have received, so whenever a township changes its ordinance, they have to submit it to the county commissioners for final approval. Or the alternative is we do not act, and in 30 days it becomes approved by us anyway. Does the Millen representative wish to move this along for them quicker, or want to talk about it?
I'll make a motion to endorse, and how was the proper wording there gonna be?
Approve the amendment.
Just approve the
Approve the-
amendments.
Approve it, okay, approve the amendments to their ordinance.
I'll do it a second.
Support.
Move supported.
I think we are setting a precedent if we approve it. We've never approved
All we do is recognize it.
planning commission. We acknowledge it, receipt of, and we can even say we offer no comments or no opposition to it. But to approve it, we're going to have to approve all of them then, all 11, plus the township or the city and the village. And I think that's,
Is there any particular reason why we wouldn't approve them?
yeah, because it's starting a precedent.
Okay, but let's go past that. Past the precedents that you want to set.
So what's the proper terminology for, because I know I've had Guston Township ones that we've,
Acknowledge receipt of.
so they still have to wait to 30 days?
No, you can say that we, at this time, we take no action and they can proceed.
So
Right.
can we modify your Terry's motion to be that?
Only if he wants to.
I
Are you,
don't see why I'd just go ahead and.
well, I think there is a terminology issue there to approve, because then we,
We're approving their changes to their ordinance. I'm not sure.
it is, I mean, it is our right to tell them that it doesn't fit to the county's plan, but
Plan on reading every other set of plans that comes to us and passing judgment on them.
Can I say something?
Yeah, we're in discussion mode right now.
I have a question. This on the first ordinance. It's on tents, travel trailers, mobile homes. I don't know what the original ordinance says. That's why it's hard to approve it, because you don't know what it really says, but it says here that dwellings below the minimum unit size required by this ordinance are permitted use. All dwellings must be on a permanent approved foundation. So I don't know what they're really saying there. I don't know what the regular ordinance says, but they're saying, when I read this, they're saying, okay, now tents, travel trailers and mobile homes, they're small, they're below the minimum size required by their ordinance. For dwellings, is it? For dwellings. So now they're saying they're gonna be allowed, but they have to be on approved foundation. How in the heck are you gonna put a tent on an approved foundation?
Someone's probably trying to live in it, is my guess.
Well, I understand,
Well,
but
they're
Yeah,
going
but
to amend
there's
it to
probably,
address
there's
it.
always a lot more ordinance than they're just adding 2 or 3.
yeah, they're adding
lines
to it.
and you don't know what exactly.
So that's why maybe we just acknowledge it, but we don't approve because we really don't know what the whole ordinance is.
I would have to vote no if we are going to make a decision. If I'm asked to make a decision, I would have to vote no because I don't have enough information.
Yeah, right.
to Make a
Agree on
decision.
that.
But
Any appetite to amend your,
I'll withdraw my motion.
okay.
I'm sure it's following their guidelines, but it's just, I think we just,
Okay, I'm sorry, I overstepped on that and asked for something that probably.
Yep.
I mean, when they want to get it, I just recognize when they send it to us, they don't want to wait 30 days to be able to implement. So. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll just let it hang.
well, I think we just acknowledge that we received it, and let them know that we received it, and there's no.
Okay, so we don't need a motion for that, do we?
We never have before, have we, Carolyn, on these?
frequently we have to let them know they can go ahead and they don't have to wait any longer.
Yeah, they don't have to wait, nothing, yeah.
But that takes a motion to say that we take no action and accept as submitted.
I'll make a motion for exactly what Carolyn just said.
Well done, Adam.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported. Sorry, Millen Township, but I'm trying to help you out here. All right, any further discussion? All right, that being said, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next, Housing Preservation Grant Resolution Request. Yep. Oh, she's right there, isn't she?
Yeah, she should be able to talk though.
Do we need a motion to approve and then she can talk about it? Or how's that work?
No, I think
No,
she should talk about it. too.
Mhm.
Hey, Diane, you want to weigh in on this motion, the Housing Preservation Grant? Oh, I see you there.
Hello,
There we go.
can you hear
You
me?
do not? Yes,
Yeah.
hello.
Hi. Yeah, that's a USDA grant that we usually apply for whenever they're available to match with our dollars to help more people.
Okay, I found one we did in 2020, so it's
We
not out of
did.
the ordinary.
Right, yeah. We did.
Is this 530?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Carol.
Is this 535, 530, or 536?
Fun number.
It's a 2021 application.
No, which fund does this go into? 535 or 536?
No, it goes on its own line item for USDA, and then it matches with the 535 program income dollars for jobs. It's a match grant,
But a match grant for which fund?
the 535.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
535?
the one, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? Oh, well, I'll make a motion to approve the, for the resolution. Lost the Housing Preservation Grant Resolution
And authorize the chair to sign.
and authorize the chair to sign. Authorize myself to sign.
Yep, there'll be lots of signatures.
Support.
Moved by Brady, supported by Thompson. Any further discussion required?
Does the total amount go into housing or the equivalent of housing?
Yes. Yeah, it's just there, it would be $30,000, match, 50% match on any jobs that we have to do for emergency repairs in the county.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, it's a resolution, so we should probably have a roll call.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thanks for weighing in, Diane. Okay. Last but certainly not least, for new business, building status. So we need to discuss what the findings were at the meeting last Thursday of the security, what is it called? Security Council Committee. Bill, you attended, you want to weigh in on what their findings were?
Well, we had a pretty good meeting, and the consensus overall was that the kiosk machine at the front door, is a piece of equipment that can actually help secure the building along with the Coven and so forth else. The consensus of the departments that had been talked to had no objection to using the machine. There were some arguments about, or discussions about the questions and who answers questions and sort of the working mechanism, but the actual machine seemed to be accepted fairly decent. There will be, if accepted, there would be a electronic lock to it, so that the doors would be locked by a magnet, and you would fill out the touchscreen mechanisms, and there's even a software that may come into play where you would swipe your driver's license. If you choose not to use that portion of it, you can hit another button and you can answer a few questions and move forward. Once you're accepted as a registered person coming into the building, the machine will unlock the door and you would pass through. You would also get a sticker visitor's pass. That visitor's pass also allows, if you happen not to get to the door quick enough for whatever means, after you've done your entry stuff, you can swipe the visitor's pass against the scanner there on the door, and it will reopen the door, unlock the door for a few seconds so you can get through. If you have to leave the building, say you're already in once and you've got something in the car you got to go get, instead of going through the whole process back again, you just swipe your card or swipe the visitor's pass and it will unlock the door for 24, I believe it's 24 hours that card is good for, that sticker, to identify who's going in. There were some discussions about the panic button or the help button on who was going to answer questions and for people that are having problems with it. And it was suggested that we could possibly rotate the departments, or we could have one designated area that would always be sent to. It would be something that would be worked out. The concept basically is to start our motion towards securing of the building. There was also brought up that we could buy another one down at the lower level and have it work the same way. So you would have some security and some method of identification of who coming into the building from either the lower level or the upper level. It is not a foolproof system. It is not going to stop a shooter. It may slow someone down, give them some hesitation, and possibly cool them a little bit, particularly if they're coming from the jail side, being instructed to come to the clerk or the treasurer to do something. That person could be very upset. He comes in and it doesn't stop them from coming in. Anybody can come in. It's just a matter of, you have to basically register and allow yourself to come in. It does send an email to the department that you may be visiting, along with your picture, so the person would know, say, an equalization that someone's due to come down the stairs, and if it doesn't show up, then they might have to send somebody up to see where that person disappeared to. But it would give some insight on who's in the building. Again, it's a lower level type of security / registration to get into the building. The doors are still accessible to people. You just have to follow through the kiosk. The judge has offered to explain even better the reasonings behind some of it. At this point, I'd let her welcome her to pick up from what I have already said.
Thank you. Before I even get started with that, I have had the chance to talk with Carolyn in the last 6 months and Bill on a few occasions, but I haven't expressed to all of you, but I do want to take just a minute to thank you all for your leadership during this pandemic. I know for you, it's been a lot of extra work with meetings, as it has been us, having to, all the extra things required. And I've gone to a lot of trainings where I've talked with people from other jurisdictions, and I tell Jennifer every time I come back, I am so glad to be in Alcona County. We have a great staff here. We have great people in the courthouse. And I appreciate the leadership of these county commissioners during the pandemic. I know it hasn't been easy. That being said, as you know, we've had all these requirements on us during the pandemic in terms of screening people coming into the building. And at some point when court started opening up a little bit more, court has remained open the entire time. We were never allowed to shut down, but we had to do everything by Zoom. And as we started to open up a little bit, we were required to screen everybody coming into the building. And then recently, you folks have voted to open up the building, but we're still under restrictions through SCAO. We still have to do certain screening, and we still have to mandate masks. And, it makes things difficult because this is a county / courthouse building. And it really wasn't, that was one of the reasons then we bought the kiosk as well, because the first time we actually had a trial, we had to post a person at the door to screen everybody, and we just don't have the personnel to do that. And then I was on the jury trial task force to figure out how we could move the jury trial docket along using Zoom. And we ultimately decided to do jury selection off-site so that we could distance people. And we did 2 jury selections out at the high school auditorium. And it's just, it literally exhausted our jury fund, just those 2 selections, because it requires so many personnel all day long. And, you have to have security, and it was a drain on the sheriff's department as well. So we've now figured out how we're gonna do jury selection here. We got a little creative with that. So there've been a lot of challenges, but in the process of all that, that's when we decided to purchase the kiosk, because it really would pay for itself very quickly by not having to have personnel there to screen these people. And the kiosk is pretty simple. You just have to type in your name. It asks you questions, takes your temperature, screens you, prints out the badge, as Bill said, and then it sends an alert to the office that you're going to, so they know you're coming. And that's worked really well for us. Then when you open the building, the kiosk, I think, was shut down. And we had a couple of court days just shortly after that happened. And it was chaos for us trying to screen people with the kiosk off. And so I reached out to John, because I didn't realize it had been turned off. And then some conversation ensued, and I'm hoping it was just a miscommunication. And I think the perception was that there was some kind of turf war between the county and the courts. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case at all. I hope that you recognize we have worked really well with you, I think, over the course of the last couple of years, trying to have a good relationship, and I feel like we do. So that's certainly not the mindset or the intention, but we did talk to Bill then, and we got permission to use the kiosk then for the couple of days that we had court, so it works well for us. But I do want to tell you too, because when we talked to Bill, he said, that there had been some complaints, and I think it amounted to 4 complaints. But we did a jury trial, and we had all the jurors had to come and check in with the kiosk 2 days in a row. We didn't have a single complaint. So now the kiosk is programmable. So I'm hoping that the restrictions on us, the COVID restrictions, will be lifted very soon. I just talked to SCAO today, and it sounds like that may be in the near future. We can change the questions on the kiosk, so we don't have to ask those screening questions anymore. But it really has provided some security, the kiosk has. And so we talked to all the department heads in the building, and everybody's in favor of keeping it operating because, as you know, we haven't really had any security in this building for the last 14 years. We finally locked all the doors except the main one, so people have to come in there. But I think it's really helpful to know who's in the building, just for security purposes. We have, in the last 6-7 months, had an uptick in threats. And I know Tom Weichel's not here, but he's also shared with me, he's had an uptick of threats. And just the world that we live in and the hostility that's been generated over the last year, I think we need to be proactive because it's only a matter of time before something happens. And somebody might be mad at the court and coming here mad at the court, but they're not going to make any distinction when they get in the building as to what office they're going to. And poor Stephanie her office is a sitting duck. That's where everybody goes when they get in the building. A couple of the things we think, and the security committee thinks, that the kiosk does, even if somebody's just coming irate to yell at somebody in a office, if they have to stop for a minute at the kiosk and type some stuff in, it's a moment to pause and maybe take a deep breath and calm down a little bit. Like Bill said, it's not going to stop somebody intent on coming in and shooting up the building, but it is a pause, and we certainly know who's in the building, and it gives a heads up to whoever's office they typed in, because it does send a message directly to that office with a picture of the person so they know that somebody's coming. We just think it's some security that we haven't had. And we would like to purchase a second kiosk for the downstairs door. And then when all the COVID restrictions are gone, just change the questions there, just because most courthouses have metal detectors and a deputy sitting at the door for people to check in. We don't have the money for that. It's very expensive. The kiosk at the front door has literally already paid for itself in the savings that we had from not having to have a person sit there. So what we're asking is to be allowed to, and I think there's COVID funding that if we purchase a second kiosk before all the restrictions are lifted, we can use some of that COVID funding. But we're also looking for other funding to make that happen. So we're not asking you for any money at the moment. We're looking for other funding. But we just feel, the security committee feels, and that includes the sheriff and the prosecutor, they're all in agreement with this. And we have talked to every department head in the building, and everybody's in agreement that it would help secure the building somewhat. It's really not restrictive for anybody coming in the building, other than that they have to pause for a minute and say, I'm here. And it's, I would say, less restrictive than having a deputy sitting there with a metal detector, saying you have to sign in and go through this metal detector. So we're just asking for your permission to keep that operational. John can answer more of the technical questions than I can, but the software is people will come into the vestibule, the inner doors are locked, they check in at the kiosk, they get a badge, the doors open, and they go where they need to go. And like I said, we had an entire jury have to do that 2 days in a row, and we didn't have a single complaint from anybody. Bill addressed, if we have somebody who's having problems, and we would post very clear, concise instructions right there so that people can read them. And then what I think ultimately decided was we put a list of all the office phone numbers there. And then if somebody's having trouble, they can call the office that they're gonna go to, and somebody there can assist them in getting in the building if they're having trouble. And, it came up at the security committee meeting. Sometimes you got elderly people or people who aren't very savvy who might have trouble. Although the machine is very simple to use, it's not, I've been to other courthouses that have more complicated machines than this. This one's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. We'll have the instructions very large so people can see, and then numbers if they're having a problem so they can call and somebody will assist them. So I guess we're just asking for your okay to look for a second machine and to look for funding for a second machine and to keep those operational even after the COVID restrictions are lifted. It will change the questions, but it's just a security item, and we have the kiosk out here. We already bought that one, so I'd like to continue to utilize it just to have a little added security in the building.
And you have had in the past evaluations in the building by,
Well, the Supreme Court security specialist has been here twice.
and part of that was door security.
Right.
I mean, it's like we said, it's not a cure-all, but it was
Right.
in that report mentioned that something on that order would be
Right.
to our benefit.
Right.
So it
Well,
isn't,
they always push, they want a metal detector,
Right.
they want all this stuff, and we've said, look, we don't have the money for that, and we don't have the personnel for that. Because like Roscommon has a metal detector, but they don't have anybody manning it, so it's off.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's the point of having it when, but it's very expensive and we don't have the money for that. But this is something that, is gonna, at the very least, slow somebody down. And I think the big plus for us is that then all of the offices know who's in the building that's coming to their office.
May I add something? Just earlier this week, there was a report from Iosco County that there's a group that are walking around videoing. And I don't know if you've had a chance to watch this, but there's about two 26-minute videos where this group was walking through the courthouse and the annex. There was a breach of security. And if anything also, and I think our courthouse security committee needs to address the situation because we can't stop this. They're walking around with video cameras, going to all the different departments, and they're allowed to. It is absolutely illegal. But there is things we can do to protect staff and make it at least so that those areas, those work areas are secure and not being breached. And not all of that is done here right now. And so, and this was just south of us, and I just think that it's something to be conscientious of and aware that there is a situation. Even though we have this wonderful, lovely community that we treasure, there's still sometimes some situations that we need to be completely prepared for and proactive versus reactive.
Well, and just in the last, maybe it's been 3 weeks ago now, we had a juvenile case, an abuse neglect case coming up for hearing, and one of the interested parties had called the court on a couple of occasions and threatened to show up with weapons. So, and we've had an uptick of those kind of threats. So when people start verbalizing that stuff, it's just a matter of time before somebody actually does it.
Carolyn.
If I may, just a point of clarification, Judge, I think we would want to move forward with obtaining this kiosk prior to necessarily finding the money. In other words, I'm saying I don't think we should wait until we find the money and then buy. I think we need to do it
Right.
and then determine.
Well, I think it is time sensitive because
Yes.
we have COVID money that we can use if we're still under COVID restrictions. So I think it is a little bit
Well-
time sensitive.
That's not quite a true statement, I don't think. Because we haven't moved forward on it. Until we move forward, there isn't any COVID money.
Well, what I'm saying is there is a pot of money
Yes,
that we could spend for that item if it were part of a COVID plan.
if we move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yes, you're correct in that. I think you all know that I really have dragged my heels through this. I mean, I'm old school enough that doors are wide open, and if you want to be reasonably pleasant, come on in, walk around, say hi to anybody that happens to be in the hallway. But I do recognize that we're living in different times than what I grew up in. And it's
I wish
unfortunate.
it were like it used to be, but that's just not the world we live in anymore.
It's not. And I strongly believe that we have a tremendous obligation to our employees and then to others who are in the building, who are guests of ours in the building, to make some effort towards their security and towards their peace in the building. And I think, as the judge has suggested, we have to have a kiosk downstairs, because otherwise we lose our ADA status, and then that causes a lot of problems. But we don't have an elevator. We're not going down that path, heaven knows. So the only alternative is to match downstairs basically what we have upstairs. But I think it's a forward step we need to take. It is an effort on the part of the board and on the part of the county to take a step to slow somebody down that might need to be slowed down, to identify the people who are in the building, and make it a little safer for everyone.
Last question.
Go ahead.
I'm sure John, have you guys talked to John, how long does it take to get a new kiosk? Is there a time frame? Do you know?
The last we heard was about $8,000.
No, time frame.
Time frame?
Here it comes.
A couple of weeks, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's
Seems like it was just.
Relatively.
$8,000, it's not just the kiosk, they're gonna have to build
A wall.
down.
Yeah.
right.
as
I'm
well.
not sure the time frame. Last one, we were able to push through, it took about 2 weeks. I think it could take longer to build the wall than it would do the kiosk.
And how much more do we have to do to the front one to get it?
It's done.
All the stuff's done?
All the stuff done except for the visitor badge. They'll be able to swipe their visitor badge. It'll ask one single question and it will bump the door. Currently, we worked on it last night and this morning, and now you can sign in and it will bump the door. So it's in working order at the moment.
My understanding is that's not activated yet. The doors aren't locked, because we wanted to have this
The
conversation.
doors are actually, they're propped open right now, but if they were to close, they will be locked.
Okay.
It's all set and ready to go, except for the scanning of they printed on a badge with a QR code. So they scan the QR code, and that will hopefully be worked on tomorrow and be done with that part.
John, is there a way that we could program it so people with their,
Their badges, you can hit your door, just hit the door versus the kiosk.
oh, okay.
There is an RFID scanner that we could purchase for the machine that would just go through the machine at that point. I have to figure out the cost on that one. I think Dave and I came to the conclusion it'd be about a little over $6,000 for the kiosk for downstairs. And I think he guessed it at $2,000 to do the wall.
Wall.
You would put a wall in with a kiosk that it can then open up.
Oh, so it's like a
downstairs.
vestibule or something.
Yeah, it'd be-
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, becomes a vestibule.
And that's a problemed area down
And
there.
it was
because
just a
of some-
guess, he didn't contact anybody, we just kinda.
Quick, buy the lumber before it goes up more.
I'm
And the
going
paint.
down.
I'd like to move that we move forward, make a motion that we move forward on purchasing of the lower kiosk, and also to request the security committee to develop a policy, because everything needs to have a policy to function for the kiosk machine, currently in the upper level and will be in the lower. And the policy to be reviewed by the Board of Commissioners. That way that, and I have it written down for you over there.
Support.
It will give a policy to match the machine.
Move supported, open for discussion. I agree that the safety committee would be the, or security committee, whatever it's called, would be the best with the right tools to develop that policy and procedures for the commissioners' review.
I guess I got a question for, maybe for the judge. You mentioned that this is an active shooter situation. This is not gonna stop it.
Yeah, I think if somebody's intent on getting in the building, it will stop them, pause them for a minute, hopefully for long enough for somebody to notice that something's going on. And we do have the video out there, so of course, we put in all these video cameras, but nobody's monitoring them. I guess 911 does,
Yeah,
but
they do.
they're not intent on them, they're doing other jobs too. But hopefully it would slow somebody down long enough for somebody to see something on the video and give a heads up to the sheriff's department.
And Adam, I just had a quick comment. There is a section at the beginning of the handbook for the county that does address the safety of the employees for the county. Is it wording that they should come up with that should be
This is in,
incorporated into it?
This-
Or a whole separate?
this is a,
Yes.
to me, it's a separate thing. It's in relation to building security, not in relation to employee security, but building security in particular. That way it's easier to amend than going through and changing an entire, you know what I'm saying? If we make it the employee policy, then it's a lot more difficult to amend, and it's not as much of a living document. You know what I'm trying to say? If it's a separate document just for building security, it's easy for the security committee to go in and go, you know what? We've reviewed these and we can change this and this and we can address it at a meeting. Whereas if you try to change the whole handbook, we got unions that are tied into that and all this other stuff.
Well, and I think too, that with regard to the security policy, like you said, it's kind of got to be a living document because we're really kind of at the beginning of having security in the building. And I envision that will change over the years. And so it'd be nice to be able to just change the security policy instead of having to change the employee handbook.
I think it
Because the union
merits,
contract has its union contract, so that unions don't have it. It's just, there's all these policies that are all out there.
Well, I understand.
They're all county policies. For how we run business. It'd be nice for it to be.
All in one
a
place.
policy.
No, I understand. You're right, but it becomes complicated when you do that because now you have to get every approval for every policy when you want to just do one. Regardless, I like the idea of, anyway, I think we need a hard copy of something to review to move forward. So we have, because if we voted today, just go, okay, close the building. Now there's a million questions of how we're going to handle it. Whereas we have some kind of policy to implement when we do it.
We're not asking to close the building.
No, I understand. I know what you mean. Not close the building, but, lock the building and require entry through the kiosk system. But, I have questions about, the panic button. It was called by somebody and I won't call it, or the help button,
It's gonna be a help button.
and who does it go to and who is tasked with being the, who.
We discussed that.
And that's only one of many little questions that are going to pop up and arise. And that's why I think it'd be nice to have some kind of written policy about how.
If that question was answered,
With the phone numbers.
there's gonna be no panic button or help button. There'll be a list of phone numbers
Okay.
for each office. And when you're, like, say I'm coming to go to the treasurer's office.
Yep.
And I'm having trouble with the machine, the instructions will say, call the office you're going to and someone will assist you. So that it doesn't fall on any one office. So if I'm going to the treasurer's office and I'm having trouble with the kiosk, I'll call the treasurer's office and they'll talk me through
Okay.
or come and let me in the building.
Okay. Well, okay. So is there any way we can get something in writing?
Sure.
Okay, great. That's all I'm at. That's all I really want. That's my personal, what I think would be nice.
Sort of an operating instruction.
Yep.
And so I guess my question is, then can we go ahead and have the kiosk be functional? And we will get you a policy statement in writing in 7 days. I think we can do it.
Let's do this motion to proceed with the purchase, and then if somebody wants to pose the second motion, we can go after that.
Was your motion just to purchase, Bill? Was
I
it-
had it together. I had moved to
Yeah,
purchase the second one and to also have the security committee develop a policy or a working manual for
Right.
the unit.
okay,
So it was both.
So that's the one on the table right now.
okay. Then the other one, okay, would be to start, okay.
Do you guys want a roll call for who voted, or just go for a aye and nay? It's up to you guys.
On the first motion,
Yeah.
whatever you want.
You're spending money, but you don't know where
No, we
you're
are-
spending it from yet.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll do roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Grumman,
Yes,
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries. So was anybody willing to entertain a motion to re-implement the entry system via
Well,
kiosk?
Let me add, maybe put a little spin on it. Can we just make it operational when we have a court docket until you have your policy and can review it? So just have it functioning on the days we have a court docket.
Is
Like,
that everyone?
As in the door is locked until they check in, or
Right.
just the people? Okay, all right.
Right,
Well, if you would give Dave authority to lock the doors on the days that we have court.
right. So then the kiosk will unlock the doors.
I understand.
Is that 1 day a week or what are we talking about?
It's 2 or 3.
2 or 3? Is it, and I assume because of the court's a little behind, you're trying to catch up, so there's,
and it also, if their court is in the morning, they've left it open in the afternoon.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's only when
So it
they're
opens
having
back.
court,
Right.
so.
So, yeah, we would just like to have it functional with the doors locked while the docket is active. And when we're done with court, even if it's in the same day, the doors can be unlocked then.
We could definitely have a policy for the next board meeting.
And that'll give us time to develop a policy to present to you for your consideration.
Next meeting's in 3 weeks.
Oh, Carolyn.
I would move that pending development and acceptance of the security policy, that the court is able to have the inner doors secure by the kiosk system during court time.
Is there a second?
Support.
Moved by Carolyn, supported by Bill. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say, like Carolyn said a while ago, I'm kind of old school myself, and I, and at the beginning or listening to this 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was in no way really of closing the building. But now as we hear more and all that, I guess I'm asking myself now, if it is all about security for our employees and for the building, why would we vote on closing it only for courts and then leave it open, waiting on a policy that is just gonna be something written down to follow? I mean, if this is all about building security, then why should we even worry about
That-
just for the courts?
That very possibly will be the next step,
The only thing,
Well, I understand.
the only
You know what
thing-
I'm saying?
but this.
but
step
we're
at a time.
incomplete. I mean, we don't have the full lower and upper. That's the only issue.
Well, you don't have the lower up, you don't have the one for down here.
If we had both equipment, then your statement would be, let's just do it. But we only got half of it. And if you're locking downstairs here, that would be the only drawback
Yeah.
I can see.
Yeah, well, I just give you my opinion. I mean, if
No,
we're
I-
really gonna be
very
worried about
valid.
employees and that, then to me, it doesn't, a couple different days. But I can, only a couple
It's
weeks.
done all the time.
Right, but you're only talking a couple weeks and, to develop a policy that hopefully we can all agree on.
I think it's a very valid point, Dan.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I gotta That's feel, my I gotta discussion. feel like you know, it's just, it is a step.
Yeah, it's a
And
step
I'm
that
not
unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't want to debate this with anybody, but I'm not so sure that it's really, when we say security, I'm not so sure that the system that you're even talking about is going to prevent very much. It really, someone's really going to do something.
Yeah.
I think this is just a, what am I going to say? Somebody standing in front of somebody
Well,
maybe
it's-
momentarily, but if he wants to go around him, he sure can.
It's a step in the right direction
Right.
on a
And I
limited
think it
budget.
gives us more of a fighting chance than we have without it.
Right.
You know, I would, if we're really talking security, we should be talking more of securing our offices. You know, maybe something that they can hide behind, that sort of thing. That we're not talking, if we're really talking about trying to take care of our people, you know, we need to be looking at offices. We don't need to be looking, I'm
Well,
just
I-
not seeing the doors as being much of a stop. I mean,
But they have, the security team has taken on those assignments by doing active shooter trainings. They have assigned different spaces for each individual office. They've added locks. For entry, doors are shut now as opposed to being open air as they were in the past. They
I've done
have
some of
taken
those,
great
I've done some of
steps.
those shooters, active shooter
Little by little
situations.
steps. Yeah,
Big
yeah, and
step.
it's been, when I first started, we had nothing, the doors were wide open and then we got those mirrors, so because we have blind hallways here. We got those so that people down the hallways could see who was coming. And then we locked the doors and people had to just come in the two main doors and this is just another step in the right direction. It's not perfect, but I do think it gives us more of a fighting chance than we have with just all the doors flung open. And the world is changing. We don't, I agree with you, Dan. I would love us to just have all the doors and windows open all the time. But unfortunately, that's just not the world we live in anymore. It's unfortunate.
Well, I don't like it, but I don't have a better idea, and I'm not a big fan of people that just say no for no reason. So let's vote. Roll call.
And this is the motion for the doors to only be open or locked with the kiosk during court.
Yep.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes,
Gothier.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And then the policy, right? Yeah.
It can be locked and then the policy will come
All
and
the time.
once we approve the policy, then it goes into a further, and we get the equipment down here.
And we already approved John to order the
Right,
stuff, so
right.
he can get on order.
Right. So like they said, it's a growing thing. It's,
Quick question for the judge.
Oh, I
In-
can say that.
Any idea when you're getting back to normal?
Well, I talked to Scale this morning and we're in phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they never give you a date or anything, but I was told this morning that they're hoping very soon that all restrictions will be lifted. I know the state is looking at July 1st, so I'm guessing that maybe Scale might go along with that. But I don't know from day to day what they're gonna do, to tell you the truth.
And I had a question too, depending on the phase that you have and him ordering that, is he even gonna need to order the temperature machine? I mean, that was like a couple thousand just for that piece of it, I think, wasn't it?
Well, maybe not, but by the time it gets here, hopefully, we won't be asking those questions.
Well, and what's hard right now with our current phase, the difference between it and what MIOSHA has done is that we order people to the court. They don't have a choice to come. So, which is why we can't really go on the, it's a matter of being protective to all the people who are users of the court as far as whether someone's vaccinated or not. That's where our struggle is, the state court struggle is because we don't give people a choice as to whether or not they're coming in. You have a choice to go into a grocery store, whether or not you want to, and that's the difference for us.
yes.
And so the next meeting's in 3 weeks, so maybe the security meeting could,
Yeah,
meeting
we're
or
not-
something for.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you all again. I know that you have so many competing interests that get presented to you, and You know, I know there's 100 different opinions about everything out there and you get inundated with all of it. But I thank you again for your leadership. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call. My door's always open. Any questions about the court, we appreciate the good relationship we have with you. I know not all judges have that with their county commissioners.
Thank you, Judge.
Have a good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Judge.
Judge.
Okay, moving on to finance.
Yeah, Dave.
We have several things we need to address today.
There, you can take
She's
one.
throwing them all.
Yes, I'm just throwing them all over.
Don't ever mention to me that I've cut trees down.
Hey,
We're supporting the local economy.
That's true. That's true.
We live in a county of forestry experts.
That's true.
A lot of them.
So, Dan, you want to run with this?
I can.
Can we do each one as we come to it?
Yeah. So the first one is Fund 282, the CARES Act. It was originally unbudgeted. Recommend changes are attached. This recommended change increase of the bottom line revenues of $19,079, expenditures of $19,079.
Support.
Bottom line changes increase.
Moved and supported. Supported? Sure. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Bucker.
Yes. The next one is in the review of the Fund 243 Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Fund, which is originally unbudgeted. Recommended changes are attached. This recommended change increases the bottom line revenues of $38,924, expenditures of $38,924. Bottom line changes increase $38,924.
Support.
Moved and seconded. Dan and Carolyn, any further discussion? Roll call. Oops, sorry. Did you have something?
I'm sorry, first and second.
First was Dan, second was
I
Carolyn.
second.
And
Where are we getting the revenue from?
This
Is it-
revenue we get from Brownfield, we get from
I mean,
a
it's-
grant.
It's
Some
a-
of it's there. It just didn't
Someone's
get
there.
And
budgeted.
we had some
Okay,
rollover
okay.
stuff and
Okay.
the
Okay.
budget committee last year didn't happen to catch that one.
Yeah.
We're doing housekeeping.
So
Yeah.
roll call, yeah, this is a lot of housekeeping. Roll call on, the,
41.
Brownfield.
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Bucker,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Okay, the next one is in review of the Fund 841 Lake Level Bond, originally unbudgeted. The recommended changes are attached. This recommended change increases the bottom line revenues of $89,508, expenditures of $89,508. Bottom line changes increase $89,508.
Support.
Motion by Dan, support by Carolyn. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Bucker,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
Pardon?
So the next one's a one pager.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the next one, in review of Fund 241, it was found that the original anticipated revenue based on the millage rates were changed to the new voted millage rates. 241 is Alcona County Commission on Aging. Revenues of $482,036, expenditures of $482,036. And it's changing the bottom line of the budget to revenues of $782,986 and expenditures of $782,986, an increase of $300,950.
Support.
Motion by Dan, support by Carolyn. And this is adding in their second, their increase on second millage.
Yeah.
Any other further discussion? Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Bucker.
Yes. Okay, the next one, in review of Fund 259, the Suicide Awareness Fund. We had revenues of $10,040 and expenditures of $10,040. His recommended change, increase the bottom line of revenues to $17,040 and expenditures of $17,040. Bottom line changes increased $7,000.
Support.
Moved by Dan, supported by Carolyn. Any further discussion?
I would just like to know, this was a request from the sheriff's department. They wanted to utilize the funds that they had, donations from prior years.
Roll call.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
One is
And the
one
sheriff?
that-
Huh?
This one is the next one. The sheriff's department, but that was assumed.
Yeah, that was with that. No, it is a lot of paper. Okay.
261.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, in review of Fund 261, we had revenues of $705,582 and expenditures of $705,528. As recommended change increase, the bottom line revenues is $723,191 and expenditures of $723,191. Bottom line changes increase by $17,663.
Support.
Moved by Dan, supported by Carolyn. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
Okay, and then the last one here, in review of Fund 536, it was found that the Board of Commissioners approved the unfunded, unbalanced budget for the 536 Michigan Small City Housing Grant 6. Revenues of $36,000, expenditures of $28,510, out of balance by $7,490. We're recommending an increase of the line item 536-699-94100 contingency by $7,490, making the amended line item a total of $8,250.
Support.
This recommended change will balance the budget to $36,000 in revenues and expenditures.
Motion by Dan, supported by Carolyn. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Beautiful. Motion carries. That is the fruits of decision we made
Several weeks.
several weeks ago to have some help with the budgeting, and it's
Thank you.
paying off in spades. So, anything else for finance?
Are we gonna have a finance meeting next week?
We should.
Should, yeah. So just set the date, let us know, but. I'm
All right.
good.
Next, personnel.
We have two contracts that are settled. The court contract and the POLC command unit are both settled. The POLC command unit is ratified. The contracts we do not have yet for actual signature. I think we'll have the POLC one by our next meeting. Well, no, not our next meeting, probably by the July 21st meeting, because there's a holiday in there and a few things. The court one, God only knows when we'll have that one. The reason being, even though our part is settled, it's 4 counties and you have to get all 4 signed on and all 4 approved individually and collectively. So although Alcona's is settled, I think there's still one outstanding. Who knows when they'll get that one done?
Yeah.
So we can't do anything about it right now. That's the status of it. I think that's all we have.
Mhm.
If I remember right, wasn't it like a couple years ago, we were the last one to settle? I haven't had 4. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we need to approve today, or we already did?
Pardon me?
We don't need to approve anything today?
Right. I mean,
No, we've approved everything.
That's right, you're right.
You approved the court
My
one
bad, that's
back
right.
2 meetings ago.
Yeah, 2.
And you approved
Okay.
the other one. And as I said, that's ratified. It's just the actual signing of the document we don't have for you.
Do we have a date when Teamsters negotiations are gonna start?
No, We've talked. a
Well,
little
we
bit.
have EMS that's going to come probably before the
Okay.
Teamster.
I only asked because as we're forging ahead in finance, we're trying to get 2022 budget stuff set up so we can start discussions on that. And the sooner we can
We would like to
get some
have
numbers.
the board be thinking about the approach that we will utilize in doing the EMS negotiations. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay. Food for thought. Anything else from personnel?
Nope.
Treasurer's report, please.
Last week, I believe, we had a hearing in regards to excess proceeds, and that's being handled with our attorney, our prosecuting attorney, to complete that settlement for that lawsuit. We have I've uploaded information to the attorneys in regards to the requested information from 2013 to 2020 excess proceeds for the sale. We're working on getting that straightened out in the general ledger. That'll be one of the next analysis, because we have to do a different type of, there's no more excess proceeds that go to the county. They'll all be held in escrow for the possibility of people claiming the funds the way it's set up. So that's kind of going to be a work in progress for the next few months. I'm asking for an extension on the audit. We have some unfinished business that needs to be reconciled. So there are COVID allowances for that. We did have our audit in July, finished up in July last year, and it kind of set everything behind. And so there are a few things that we just need to clean up and get under control. So I'm asking for an extension.
Do you need board action for that?
I will take it if you want to get
I
it.
would so move that we approve an extension of our 2020 audit period.
So I'll second that. My question is that we're asking the auditor for an extension?
No, the state. He'll help
Just the
us
state.
file
Oh, for
an
the
extension.
state. Okay, got it.
Like I said, there's a few housekeeping things that we're still trying to get cleaned up, and I don't know if they would have the time. It's just still gonna take some discovery on our end to get those cleaned up.
Okay.
So I will contact him, and also I noticed that we had an updated contract because of the single audit that needed to be sent out for signature. It was after the original contract was signed. It was signed and sent. We were all aware of the single audit that we would have for the 2020. And I just wanted you to know that it was signed and updated and sent. And if you need approval, now would be the time to say.
Who signed that? Is that your signature or the
That would
It's
be
my signature.
Adam.
board chair?
Yeah.
Do we have a copy of or what? I don't recall getting a copy of the.
Of the updated?
Yeah.
I have it on file. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one right here.
No, the other one. The updated one that we sent out. This was from February. I have brought that down to your office. And you had it on the docket.
That's what I thought this one was.
No, this is the original.
That's all I have.
Then I will make sure that
Thank you.
you get one.
There was a
Other than that, we're kind of slow with payments. The new tax season is coming up. We've been working, like I said, last week with our last meeting with equalization and getting all the information done. I'm sorry, I didn't see that on Sunday. I was contacted by the road commission in regards to some Cedar Lake Dam billings. That's one of the housekeeping items that we have with the auditors, and these will be reviewed. I haven't had a chance to get back with them. Obviously, there's a few things that need to be cleaned up, and that will be taken care of prior to the end of the month.
We have a motion on the floor.
Do we?
Yeah, Carol made a motion, I seconded it.
Oh, yeah.
We could have let you make it and I could have seconded
No,
it.
I know, there's a motion.
Extension of the audit, yeah. So we need,
You're correct. we
I
did.
finished my whole thing.
that's all right. We don't need a roll call, right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Can we hear the motion again? Just to-
It was to
Extend the
request the extension
audit.
of the
Extension of the
2020
audit.
Okay.
Not all that other stuff.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
You do have one.
Okay.
The ARPA funds, do we have a committee or is there going to be a committee? We have there's two things that need to be completed through the federal government as far as the Department of Treasury to get our funds in our coffers. And I'd like to get them in sooner rather than later to start earning some interest. But I just wanted to know if you are ready for that. You have how you want to proceed.
Are you saying we need to form a committee? Is that what you mean?
Well, you don't need to, but that
It'd
was
be
the
better.
discussion of.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kicked around several different ways to do it, but
I'd like to see this earning interest in our bank as opposed
so
to.
we need to,
the
So what do we
federal
need to
bank.
do to get
we need
that
to do the
money?
application, right?
I have the application here.
Yep.
I've already filled out, as I said before, the ID me. There are some conditions to this, this is a general grant of I just need to know how you want to proceed. If you do not want me signing these as authorization to receive the funds, that's fine. I can turn this over to whoever you would like to
Are
have
you
that authorization.
okay to have the authorization to sign
As long
those?
as you allow this to be followed, then I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. The regulations on how this is to be spent.
All right, so we need a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we authorize our treasurer to sign the documents for the ARP funding.
I'll second. Breaky.
I think in conjunction with that, we need to initiate a plan which has been proposed for 3 months minimum. I agree, the money needs to be earning interest in our account, not their account. But we don't have some ideas on how we're going to proceed.
I would say a lot of counties already have their committees formed.
Right,
They've already
of
filed
course
the
they do.
application. They're
Of
already
course we
received
do.
their funds, and now they're working on how to spend it.
And that was
We are
suggested
way
back
behind.
in late March or so.
Agreed. However, it's still not concrete solid how to spend it.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to make a motion to form a committee and people it, I am on board.
I think we have a motion on the floor, don't we?
Yeah, we have a motion right now.
Oh, well, then why are we discussing the other thing? Roll call.
Drummond,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
On the second.
So
Now did you want to make a motion?
that being said, who wants to make a motion to volunteer to be on the committee and form it?
You?
Leaving it to me. I see everybody looking at me. I can feel it. I'm not even looking at you. I can feel all your
No, I
eyes.
mean, I'll help you.
All right. I'll make a motion that Alcona County Board of Commissioners form a committee for the implementation of the spending of the ARP funds, ARPA, whatever it's called.
Support.
Moved and supported.
So your motion really is that we're gonna sit down and kind of get together and try to form a committee or recommendations on how to form this committee, who we should involve.
I would, yep, I think that you could give a list of we all just kind of we can't work together, obviously, because it's
Yeah,
against
right.
the rules, but
I think we need to have a special meeting just for that.
Yeah. And I think we can all come up with some ideas, who we think should be on that committee.
We
You
can
know.
contact other commissioners to see what their counties have, what their committees are formed of. I've heard numerous people involved.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think Doug Chief, the EDC, I mean, somebody from there definitely needs to be on it.
I've heard auditors and county administrators and
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that need to be on it, so.
legal counsel. A lot of those things we don't have at all.
Yeah.
And Tom can sit on the committee.
So we can come up with some ideas and, you know.
Yeah,
have a special
we'll-
meeting or have just that or what?
we can, if we can have a workshop before the next meeting, or we can have a workshop sooner.
Maybe we should have a workshop before that.
Okay, so the motion on the floor right now is that do we already pass that one?
No.
Okay, so the motion is that we're gonna form a committee.
Right.
And then we can, so all those in favor,
Aye.
all those opposed, motion carries.
And I think everybody has information at 2:00 tomorrow, so is that
Yep.
Zoom meeting
Absorb the Zoom meeting.
on supposedly more rules on this funding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring some
Or
information.
I
guidelines.
did see that.
Let's schedule a workshop, ARPA workshop, a derpy workshop, where hopefully everybody puts together some ideas for intelligent conversation during that time. What's a good time and day for everybody next week?
So not a special meeting, just a workshop.
I would like to call it a workshop because we're not going to vote on anything, and we can all still hang out together.
What about the
Might
30th?
You still have to advertise it.
What about 2 weeks, the 30th or something? We got 3 weeks to our next meeting.
What do we got the last 28, 29, 30? Is there anything,
There's nothing going
I
on.
mean, for me, that's more open than next week is.
Yeah, 28th, we just got a Board of Health meeting on the 28th, but there's nothing else going on those days.
You want to pull something in the afternoon on one of those 3 days? or
I was
something?
gonna
I've
say,
got,
there's the
I'm
pot
tied up
lunch.
to 29th, the afternoon, the 29th.
You have what in the afternoon, the 29th?
29th, I'm tied up.
How about the 30th or the 28th?
Whatever's gonna be
You've got
done.
a meeting the 28th.
I can do either one.
Why don't we do the morning, well, what's your schedule?
That may
Let's
still be
do-
on.
Oh, how about, yeah, before their pot lunch
Yeah,
day?
you do it
Yeah,
before the potluck?
yeah, we actually get to go to it. I have a
9:30,
reason to
10
go.
o'clock?
Yeah, in the morning, that morning.
Is that okay? So what are we doing?
We're talking about 29th, that Tuesday morning.
Do we need a motion for that?
No, you just.
You got to advertise it, don't you?
I can post it.
Okay.
June 29th, would you say 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
9:30.
9:30, give us a couple hours.
9:30.
That work for you or no?
I'll make it work.
At 9 or 9:30?
That's
9:30.
my life has become. I'll make it work.
Okay. Yeah, and Steph, if you can find out some other thing, I don't care what other counties are doing, but it still gives ideas.
Yeah.
I was surprised at some, I guess. I'll go back to the clerk's emails and
Yeah.
that are in regard to
Yeah.
the
Company cars, I'm in favor of that. Let's do that.
Start.
Start rumors right now. Get ready. Get ready for headlines. Okay, clerk's report is next.
I did have a question. What happened, personnel with union contract and the negotiations? Is it final? Is it still ongoing?
For which one? Officers?
COAM, POLC,
You got a copy of that?
the contract, it's completed. You
Yes.
guys all approved
Well,
it.
Yes, it's ratified. We do not have the hard copy of the contract, but the meat of it, yes, is ratified. They agreed at our special meeting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I agreed last
Yeah, we had a
Wednesday.
special
To
meeting.
proceed with
They
union
agreed, and
negotiations.
yes,
Mhm.
I should have been, yes. I gave you a copy you and Tina both a copy, hard copy and an email copy of the results of that.
Okay, so the board all agreed on the union contract?
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
just the negotiation portion of it?
Nope.
No,
That's
no.
not how I
Just have-
understood it. Okay.
Okay.
Also, there was not so much an issue, but it was a half a day long issue. And it was in regard to contributing your bonuses, your signing bonuses, or your stipends, or your longevity, or your cashing out of vacation time in regard to transferring those monies to an HSA. It ended up in talking to Tom Weichel, and we called a
Well,
CPA.
Al
and-
Stevenson, yeah.
And in regard to the HSA contributions. So I referred to the county policies and procedures, and nowhere in there is that addressed at all. So I was hoping that the board could get that into the policies and procedures, which led to a whole bunch of things that are outdated within the handbook. I'd like to see a motion or something by the board, or update the policies and procedures. I forgot to look for that lady's name. And to get something in writing for clarification, or, I mean, if the auditors go, well, why did you do that? Who said that you could do that? And where's that motion? Where's those minutes? I don't know. Is it policy? Was it 15 years ago when
Well,
we had our
it's
first
because the
HSA?
auditor, it's not our auditor, but an auditor CPA said that's the way
Mhm,
it should be
mhm,
done.
Correct. But where is it?
I mean,
in
we've
writing?
used Stevenson before. Not to do our audit, but we have used him as an auditor, as a CPA before. So it's not as though he's, oh, who is this person? We've never seen him before. We have. And his direction, I mean, you were there. His direction said, just put it over in the HSA, because if you pay it to them, they still get the credit on their tax, or not refund, on their tax reporting.
Right.
And so you might just as well just put it in their HSA. It's recorded on their 1099, yes.
Yeah.
And it's not a big deal. It's almost a routine. I think it's fair to say it was a routine piece of business.
Right.
And you're following the federal rules, the federal guidelines.
Right.
And we're not making these up.
But,
Al wasn't making
but
them
what
up.
you're saying, Stephanie, is there's nowhere in our employee handbook that has direction on what to do with those.
Right.
That needs to be updated.
But
Because
I think-
really, if it's a stipend or it should go right into you as a salary. But we're taking it right from the salary right to the HSA.
Yeah.
We're depositing a stipend into HSA,
That should be taxed.
correct? So
So is that proper?
it's our policy. It would be our policy to be able
To
to
allow
allow
them
them
to
to
do that.
do that. So that's what she's asking.
Or we
for.
would say, no.
We will.
You're going to get it as a stipend. You
And
are
you can
going
do
to
whatever
get
you
taxed
want.
on it.
Yeah.
And then your next pay, you want to take a chunk of your check and put it in your HSA pre-tax, fine.
Yeah.
That's not how it's being, where is
Okay.
that in writing?
That's what she's looking.
If you will share that with us, we will look at it.
So what you said, I think you said earlier
If I'll
today,
share what?
You said you have, we'll dig it out in the policy. We'll find it in the policy.
Okay,
when you said the last time our policy was 2017, that was
that it was
updated.
updated, right?
And a lot of things have changed. in
And you
5
just want to
years.
see it in writing for direction, like any of my election manual that tells me what to do, and I turn out the policy and there's nothing in there, there's no direction. So,
Especially for new employees coming in.
There was also an auditor recommendation, cleaning up any issues with policies and procedures, how we can, because there's different, like when you start, it's very open-ended in a lot of situations as far as union. So some people are getting paid out when they're switching unions, some people are not, they're carrying it over. That needs to be cleaned up, those kind of issues that we're running into. Were they paid out? Were they not paid out? Were they carrying over time? And that needs to be clarified in our issue, in our in our policy book, because in their union, it's very clear, you get paid out. When you leave this position, when you leave this position in this union, you're paid out in full. Well, that doesn't always happen, and it hasn't always happened. There are things that are carried over, and we need that clarification in our personnel.
And I'm a prime example of that. I carried it over. I could have gotten paid out at 100%. Instead, I carried it with me too, and I lost 50% of. Yeah, that does need to be clarified.
Okay,
It's almost like the resolutions when they're adopted. It should be policies that were adopted and on the dates, and that might also save some of those policies that are adopted year after year after year at the organizational meetings. But I don't, might be helpful.
Maybe we don't need a motion, but we definitely need to review the
right.
And I think what would might be helpful is Stephanie, during our finance meeting today, had indicated that as they find issues, they're actually marking them out.
They're doing that now. We asked them to do that some time ago.
Yeah. So
But it was more on focus on union contracts, not so much.
Okay, I thought it was on any one.
I guess what I'm saying is we don't have to go into this blind and just have this 40 pages of something to try to figure out what's going on. We have some clues already to help solve the mystery. So, okay.
Big difference between shall and may.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yep.
We have several communications for your perusal.
I would like to ask that on behalf of the board, that the chairman address a letter to the governor's office, to the Secretary of State's office, and to our two our representative and our senator, that is basically in support of Roscommon's position on the you have to by appointment only to see someone in the Secretary of State's office, that there would be no walk-ins. I have an issue with that, and I think on behalf of the people in our county, I think that it behooves us to go on record as being one more county that is in opposition to a by appointment only from the Secretary of State.
It's getting pretty bad. I don't know if you've heard, but it's like 3 to 4 months now.
Oh, yeah.
When you call for an appointment.
Yeah.
With Secretary of State. That's just how crazy it is. That's just kind of.
Yeah, that is too long. Need to do something with their systems.
I'm not wrapped up in resolutions, but I think a letter stating our opposition to it would be beneficial. It puts us on record as, I mean, my theory, if you don't say anything, you must like what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's wrong, what she is proposing.
Is that a motion, Carol?
It doesn't have to be a
yes.
motion, does it?
Yes. Well, it doesn't have to be, but I will make it a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Okay. Moved and seconded to submit a letter to the concerned individuals in support of the Roscommon.
Mac needs to get a copy of that too.
In support of the Roscommon resolution, not in support of the resolution. Parallel to the Roscommon resolution where the commissioners, I'm saying too much words.
Expressing the opposition, that's.
Expressing opposition to by appointment only at the Michigan Secretary of State. Do we have a second?
Yes, Terry did.
Okay. Motion by Carolyn, support by Terry. Carolyn, would you be okay with drafting a letter for this? Or are you asking me to do it?
Might cost you, but I will.
Okay.
And allowing the chair to sign?
Yes, thank you. I was just gonna say that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Was that, hate to do this, can I ask for a roll call, please?
Sure.
Then I can say all commissioners, otherwise I can't say all commissioners.
Roll call it is.
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes,
Brumman.
Yes, thank you. I know that's a pain, but
it's unanimous. Motion carries.
otherwise you can say all in the letter that you will sign.
Plausible deniability. Okay, committee reports. Terry, what you got?
Attended 3 township meetings, all, like, almost all my group. A lot of discussions at these meetings at these Airbnbs. If you're not hearing anything about them, they seem to be getting bigger and bigger, and they're addressing it at a state level, trying to put some regulations into it. Some of the townships are against the regulations. There's a lot of discussion back and forth. Also, they're talking about tiny houses. I think you saw in Millens Township, they had a little bit there. Attended a veterans meeting. They wanted me to pass on that they're not interested in doing the grant that
Oh,
they've gone in the future. They're
Not interested in doing what?
pursuing the grant that they,
that $50,000.
that $50,000 grant. They did want me to pass that on. Mental health meeting, there is a bill working in the, I believe it's Senate right now, that's trying to bring more central control rather than local control of the mental health organizations.
Yeah.
And they're very concerned about it. They're all working on it. It's just an issue that's going on. I wanted to thank, I did not talk about last time Memorial Day services. Some of us were there, very touching, very well received and really doing. I want to thank Tony for kind of setting that up, and I think Carolyn, you were involved in that too, maybe? I heard that you were.
I was there, but
And it was just a really nice thing. The PA system I thought worked out rather well, and that was purchased by the veterans.
Father Tyler did a good job.
Yeah,
Really good job.
they're apparently they want to try to get him back too. So, and of course we have the 911 memorial service to go here, saying on 911, and I think it's 9:30, but I could be wrong on the time. Let me follow up on that. And then also the veterans are having their usual day on 11 and at 11 p.m. So that's all I got.
Dan?
Attended NEMSCA Zoom meeting, and this is the executive director's report for your reading. This gives you a good overview of what NEMSCA has been up to over the last month and that, and it's pretty interesting, the stuff that they're doing there. Other than that, tomorrow I'll be in Gaylord for 2 different meetings. Finally, in person, no more Zoom. That'll be, it's a drive, but it'll at least be a
Worth
lot
it.
better than,
It's worth it.
yeah, it'll be a lot better. Other than that, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
Well, we had the front door policy that we went through for the security thing. We've been dealing with extra rooms. What are they? They are the DHS over here. The little room by Tom's is not. They're not needed right now, so that room is going. Tom's going to use that for when he has family members that are at each other. One will be in one room, one will be in the other, so it'll have a separation. We've been looking. John has been having issues with room, so we've been looking at a way to move Catholic Human Services to another spot. We think we have a temporary one over in the building department that would require a door and a wall to be installed in their conference room, you might call it, and still give everybody access to a place to meet with blueprints, plus give some security to the Catholic Human Services. We're getting some prices on that first, and then John can go into that room along with, for his problems, his equipment. And the Parks and Recs are applying for their normal annual grant for snowmobiles. And under some of the policies, or not policies, some of the requests from the audit people is that we're to be aware of someone applying for a grant so that we know upfront that our numbers will be used on the application. And then they'll come back in once they know they either got the grant or not. So the preliminary, basically, it's an annual snowmobile grant. It's due July 15th. It runs on the average of $70,000 to $90,000. They are looking at a heavy brushing maintenance. Also, if that's true, if they get it granted, it's another 20 to 30,000 on top of that. So it could be in the hundreds. And that includes things like brushing and fuel costs and plowing of the trailhead, lease of the land, and porta potties. They've been asked to get some kind of breakdown from their insurance liability. We pay, or they pay on one big dollar amount for the Parks and Rec, but what they can do, if they know how much the snowmobile part is paying versus the ORVs, they can request that reimbursement from the grant people, from DNR. So if we need to somehow find out how much their overall costs are, broke into two different parts, snowmobile and ORV, and then they can request that back on the different grants that come through so they can get their money back. Otherwise, they lose that portion. So that's one thing I have to work with. The rest of it is just to letting us know that there are writing a grant due to July 15th, and we'll know one way or the other if it gets approved.
I do have a question. When they turn in their request for checks, are they doing it under the appropriate line items? That's the way your breakout will be.
I hope so. No.
I'm just asking. That's
I don't know
it's
yet.
already done. That's a done deal. If they're requesting grooming of trails for snowmobile grant or ORV grant, that would be indicated on how they're spending. So it should not be a problem to get that information, as long as they're requesting it on the right fund.
Okay.
On the right line item.
I can't answer that one.
Okay.
That's it.
Carolyn.
I send a note of appreciation to Jennifer and to Linda Atchison. They did a very nice presentation. Well, you were there, Adam, yesterday, for the code or enforcement officers and for the supervisors. It was on what do I do if I want to write a violation against a citizen? I don't know what happens to it then. And they did a nice job on it. Reviewed invoices as I do about twice a month for 211. Working on preparation for executive director's annual review. Approved grants with Gratiot County United Way, Midlands Alice program, Midlands Friendly Connection, which is a pilot program and a senior United Way program. I send all of you the clarification of the CLID position regarding Cedar Lake spillway. That was, we feel, inappropriately reported at the Drain Commissioners meeting last week. Forgotten Eagles will be here Thursday, August 5th, shortly after noon. Through contact with Rich Castle, I've added, or seen to it that was added, the sheriff, the undersheriff, 911 director, and EMS director to the consumer's notice list. I think you all got the notice of the power outage, but the sheriff and all those people didn't get it. And it seems to me it probably would be a good idea if they did. So I asked them if they wanted to. They all said, yes, get us on the list. So contacted Rich and said, please add these folks. We already talked about supporting Roscommon's position on the resolution. I think that's all that I have under report for activities.
Okay. So, anybody want public comment? 5 minutes. Oh, hold on.
I do.
You do? Okay, go ahead.
And the reason I'm doing this under public comment is because I was at the road commission and drain commission meeting, not as a liaison from our board or anything else. I went because of CLIB. I went as, in essence, almost a private citizen. And so I did not feel it appropriate to include this in my committee report. But you got copies of it, and working with Harry, you got copies of their minutes, their finances. I gave you a copy, it's a 3 or 4 pager that had graphed the position of the road commission for the last couple of years. And the road commission is aware that I'm going to share this with you today. And I worked with Phil Wolf from same audit firm that we're using. And some of his comments were giving full assurance that they were following all the laws and regulations and in compliance. They had a clean audit. They have a strong fund balance. They have a strong use of their dollars through inventory and equipment. They're showing good growth. Overall, the records are in good shape. They're in good shape financially, probably the best they have been in many, many years. Their preservation, which is not maintenance, but is in extending life of the road. They spent $2.8 million on it. And that is not, as I said, that's not maintenance dollars, that's preservation. And which is an appropriate amount given their budget, etc. So they received a very good report from Phil Wolf, and it was well done. And I wanted to share that with you, as I said, as an individual, not because that's what I was there for, CLIB and as an individual. So.
Okay, thank you.
Great job.
Anybody else for public comment?
Hey, Adam, are you there?
Yeah, Craig, go ahead.
Well, I missed the front end of the meeting, but sounds like Commissioner Brumman took care of the update on the road commission. I had chatted with Jesse, and so yeah, she's right. They did a very good job on their audit. A couple other things that they were in the middle of doing. They continue all their chip seals and all their other jobs that are going on. So things are running smoothly. Not an issue. I wasn't at that meeting. Carolyn was there. I wasn't. But I'm in contact usually with Jesse once a week. So that's all I had from there.
All right, Craig. Thank you.
All righty. Hey,
any other public comment? Oh, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say, I was in and out blurbs. You guys are forming an ARP committee. You're going to include
That's right.
on that, right? And we're looking
Absolutely.
at probably supervisors involved, or at least some of them. I think there's probably going to be some need for that.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll definitely be considering some ways to do that. So.
Yep.
All right, Craig. Thanks.
All right, you're welcome.
Any other public comment?
I did have a question real quick. So the Catholic Human Services is looking at the building. Are they funding the building?
No,
of it?
Not yet.
Catholic Human Services doesn't look. Can't discuss this right now. I don't know. It's the people inside are trying to find a new place for Catholic Human Services because they want to join. It's not Catholic Human Services looking for a new place. We are obligated to provide them with something, but it's the building committee, right?
I just was gonna suggest that courtroom, I mean, basically finance is the only one that utilizes that room downstairs as an option,
That secondary courtroom?
That's a secondary courtroom, though.
but nobody utilizes it.
True, but I can't, if they ever do have a second court, but they have it periodically, and it's the same time as they have an appointment.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's okay. Basically, we're looking for room for John, and he needs that space, and that means we need to offer another space to Catholic Human Services, and they want to come back to a face-to-face meetings as soon as COVID, in their opinion, allows it. So we're just looking for rooms, and that was one of the options that we came up with was over there.
But this room here isn't being used. You're saying 2 years from now, they might have a meeting?
But-
this thing isn't being used.
You'd have to,
You don't have to do nothing.
to get it bounced off the court system.
I'm going to say, but at one point a long time ago, they said that they had to have 2 court systems. This room here was going to be created into a courtroom.
I don't know.
And that's why we had to build a bench for the judge. So then they moved over to the other area and moved it around. So all I'm saying is that the last I knew is they had to have a
Maybe it's
designation.
changed.
That's why the Polycom's in here.
Yeah.
It may be appropriate to send a letter, communication, get a written communication back so that they are committed. If in fact they say, oh, on second thought, we don't need that after all.
From the judge.
Yeah. Yeah, get it to her.
Won't hurt anything to get it.
No, because you
And I
don't
would
have
hard
to do a
copy
thing.
it. I would not email
I
it.
mean, you don't have to do a thing. And Catholic Human Services are here once a week.
Yes.
Oh.
Twice sometimes. I understand.
Yeah, and sometimes,
But they haven't actually,
Sometimes it's late at night, it's 7 o'clock
Yes.
at night.
yes.
and they haven't actually been here for almost a year or longer, from what I understand.
Yeah, they have.
So, but we're obligated, like you said, to have a place for them to go to.
And it's very helpful for our people. That there's, the people they're serving, that are our constituents. Well, your constituents, not mine.
I feel like we've ventured into commissioner additional comments already. So any
Yeah.
other additional comments? All right, then